Hopefully everybody's enjoying deer season 22. We've had some fantastic action lately with Mom's buck, Terry's buck. Taylor and I hunted together, I think 9 different days, and we just had so many great encounters and so much fun. And it's a special fall for Taylor this year, so it was exciting to get out there and spend some time with my favorite hunting partner. And now we're going into the buck of a lifetime for Mr. Robinson. The story of D8, a buck that went from mid-30s to mid-80s in 2 years. Look at that standard 8-point and you go, well, that might be a management buck. Hold on, it might not be. Check this story out to learn everything about the buck we call D8. One thing I want to talk to you about though is if you haven't already put in for the hunt giveaway, please do so. You can enter over there at DeerCast. Myself and brother Terry are going to take one lucky winner, 2 days on his farm, 2 days on my farm, and the season of that person's choice.
Well, welcome back to Deer Season 22. This episode is extra special to me as in it's the largest buck of my life, 188-inch giant that we've had history with over the past 4 years. This is the story of D8.
You know, home range is one of those things that's always intriguing to me. And I think as a buck ages, if he makes it to age 4, 5, and 6, home ranges can change based on other competition within the herd. Here's the story of D8 at 3.5, good looking young buck, and he was there throughout the entire season. We felt like, hey, maybe this is a homeboy, you know, a buck that stays on the farm quite a bit. And then that thought changed once we got into the fall of 20. We had him for a little while, then he vanished. And that remained true again in the fall of 21. So you wonder what the dynamic is that takes a buck that at one point seemed like a homeboy, this was his home core, and then the next year, MIA, can't get a picture of him no matter how hard you try. So you fast forward a little bit to the summer of 21, once again, D8 shows up, and there's that big giant frame. Every time you see him, he kind of takes your breath away because he's got that awesome frame. And he's there, he's there, he's there. October 10th, falls off the face of the earth, not another picture. And I think something that's very important, this is the year that I'm hunting the fork buck. So we're on the farm a lot. We had a lot of sits on the farm. I had more cameras than ever trying to pattern the fork buck, and D8 is nowhere to be found. So I'm fairly confident that he was not on the farm yet again. Disappeared there in early October and doesn't show up to the very tail end of the season. And that's when we were out one evening and had a very wonderful encounter with this giant 8-point.
Those might be new deer that just crossing the road, I don't know. The deer's big. Awesome encounter with a giant 5.5-year-old 8-point. We had pictures of him all summer, and he disappeared, and he just recently came back. Beautiful deer though, 5-year-old.
Our summer camera surveys are very important to us, and as we went into the summer of 22, we were looking back at historical data from 19, 20, 21, and then we get our cameras out, we start getting pictures in on this particular farm, and who shows up but D8. All right, so here's a buck that the previous 2 years literally looked like a twin. He did not grow very much at all. His body grew, rack grew accordingly, but he went from high 30s to maybe mid 40s, and all of a sudden, a 40-inch jump. So there's my point about, hey, is that a management buck? Well, here's this deer that's 30s, 40s, mid 180s in our estimation. Pretty cool stuff. So you look at that big rack and you go, how did he put on 40 plus inches? Well, if you look back at Rain Station within DeerCast, we had a very wet April, May, June, and the start of July. And we didn't really start into our drought until mid-July. So that growing period, if you look at when a buck puts most of his inches on, it's very important that you have that direct nutrient transfer from the soil into their body and into their antlers, and those wet springs end up yielding very big antlers, and that's exactly what happened for D8 and many of the bucks that we had pictures of. Then the drought hit mid-July. Then it's time to put food plots in, and we were begging for a rain. We just could not catch any rain, and finally a decent storm went through that particular piece of ground. We've got a couple different plots where we've got historical photos of D8, one on the ridge, one on the bottom, and we get one decent rain, and finally we had some germination. Then we get another rain. The bottom field's doing quite well, the top field not so much, but that's just a difference in soil quality and also how much that rain went to work. That bottom field is flat, the ridge field, it runs off, so an inch down here is very different than an inch up there. It went to total work plus the soil quality, and all of a sudden you've got two different looking plots even though they received the same amount of rain. And now we were going to use our historical data on this buck. We now knew he was a target and the clock was already ticking. Once that season started, based on the previous history, we had just a week to 10 days to get this job done, and there's no better guy to get that job done than Mr. Robinson. Tonight, Carson?
I think tonight's the night.
Well, I'm excited. Mom's going out with Terry. Taylor's going back to Missouri. I'm going out with Christian, and Wade and Josh are going out. DeerCast says good, and got a nice east wind, so we get to hunt some rare spots that you traditionally don't get a lot of winds for this time of the year. We've had them the last few nights, so Christian and I are trying a different spot, and Wade's up on a ridge where we've been getting daylight pictures of a giant drop tine buck, so hopefully Wade and Josh have some luck, and we'll see what happens tonight. But I'm excited for the sit tonight. Somebody's killing something, hopefully. If nothing else, we'll all kill Tom.
Here we go. Second day of Iowa season, and I got Josh Sparks behind the camera, and the weather feels great. Wind is just a little sketchy based on DeerCast, but hopefully be able to fool their noses with nose jammer, scent crusher, scent lock, and hawk blind, so keep our fingers crossed. All right, well, Josh just arrived. I'm going in after an awesome buck. He's 6.5 years old. He's a giant 8-pointer, has some trash, big old drop tine. So it's an honor to get to hunt him. And he actually showed his little niche in his armor this morning. He went to bed. So our wind's a little sketchy, but we're gonna lock up in that hawk. We scent crushed everything. We're gonna nose jammer up and do everything we can do to keep our scent concealed tonight, because I think he's gonna walk onto that radish plot tonight. We got radishes up close, winter bulbs and sugar beet out of the distance, and it's actually the same field that I killed grasshopper in 2 years ago. So hopefully time will repeat itself tonight. As you could tell, Josh and I are just dripping sweat. First two deer just got in the field. It's 5:30. You know, we're in this blind and got it locked up, and it's warm because our wind is kind of cutting down the edge of this field here. We think he's bedded in this hollow because this morning he come off of this scrape on this Reconyx camera heading back this way, and he didn't go past the camera that's on this corner. So I think he dumped in right here beside the blind and bedded down in this hollow. We've had a lot of deer do that in years past and just pop out right here underneath us. Being in this hawk blind allows us to be able to hunt this deer. We got radishes that you could tell that they've eaten to the dirt right here close, winter bulbs out at a distance. Sit here and sweat it out till hopefully he'll show up.
We are ready for the evening hunt.
it's like each evening you're just anxious to know how the evening's gonna play out. I mean, it's been an incredible early season so far, but we're back in County Road Bottom, and it honestly feels the exact same as last night, which is a good thing. We had just a beyond amazing sit. I wish Carson and I had cell service tonight to know what everybody was seeing and what was going on, because the guys are on some bucks. So Wade, I would say, out of everybody, he's probably got the highest chance, because that big old framey, mature Iowa deer is gonna drop Tine. He went to bed this morning where him and Josh are going. So, I mean, we've had pretty good luck lately using those cameras, seeing if they're going to bed, how late in the morning they're going to bed, hunting there that evening, just knowing that they're bedded super close, you know, and we've been seeing mature bucks when we've been hunting them that way. So if I had a feeling, or if I was a betting person, I guess, I would say that Wade and Josh are in a very good spot for this evening.
I didn't see that one yesterday. Passed the test with our scent. These deer are actually coming out of the hole that I think that buck might be bedded in. Our wind's cutting right down the edge of this field, and they walked right through our wind. We haven't opened the blind once. We cleaned the windows as soon as we got in here, and then have kept it shut the last hour and a half. Our shirts are soaking wet, but it'll be worth it if that guy walks out. That's it. Yeah, he's gonna come now. Big one. There you go. Dang it. He was too far left for me to get home for sure. Yeah. Well, sweating it out in that blind was definitely worth it just to lay eyes on that deer. That deer is one of the most impressive whitetails I've ever seen, and just to be able to hunt him was an absolute honor. And back to those blinds, you know, the deer come from dead downwind. We stayed locked up all night, and it paid off. We saw him. He chased those other bucks around. He was the only deer, only buck that didn't walk within bow range. Nonetheless, just an absolute monster of a deer. Can't wait to hear what Terry and Mark and Taylor saw tonight, but boy, was it an awesome last 30 minutes for us tonight. Unbelievable.
Get ahead of your game with a 14-day DeerCast prediction, mapping, radar, wind check, rain station, path tracking, and more. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
Well, our free sauna plan worked to perfection. He did indeed show up. He did go to bed exactly where we thought he did, directly downwind. As soon as we crawled out of the blind, you know, we were excited. Josh and I left, we got home, and then we got a photo that night from Mark at about 8:30 p.m. down in the bottom field. D8 was just cruising through the middle of those biologic deer radishes, and we knew that we got out clean. So we had decided to wait till we get another picture of D8 going to bed to move back in on him. October 4th, we get pictures, 8:30 in the morning. With him going to bed that late in the morning and knowing that this deer leaves in mid-October, Josh and I were going back in again with marginal winds. It's the same exact field that Mark killed the fork buck. We knew our access was perfect. We knew if we could get into that muddy blind without anything seeing us or smelling us, we would be in the chips.
Alright, well, we just crawled in this big bottom here. We're in this little blind, muddy blind right there, and our wind is kind of just blowing into. There's a bedroom over here. It's actually where the fork buck come out of. We had the same wind that night, and we was able to stay locked up in this blind and get by with it. So the buck was out here at the scrape tree this morning at 8:09, and just couldn't tell if he went south or if he went north, but we're gonna stay locked up just to be safe here. But I'm excited. Mark's on a giant tonight, and Terry's also on a giant in Missouri over on his Missouri farm in eastern Missouri. So it's a good night. We have 3 giants that bedded just off these fields, hopefully this morning. So just keep our fingers crossed that we can have some luck tonight. Got Josh behind the camera, and we're back in after D8. Well, great start. Right just before 6 o'clock, we had a nice little 2 or 3 year old pop out, feeding the radishes a bit at 20, 25 yards. And then all of a sudden he looked like he kept looking back like he might be going to meet up with another deer. So we'll keep our eyes peeled to the south here and hopefully it's D8, but we'll see. That's in the book. I'm almost 100% sure it's this one right here. I think so. Wide deer, good deer. Alright. Right on, yep, that's him. Where are you at?
I got a headache. That's one of the biggest deer I've ever had the chance of hunting, and I think I just put it right through his lungs. Absolute giant here in southern Iowa.
Dude.
On him, I had to open up the windows. The does started to clear down here, but he never even looked up at him. Shot him at 20 yards, and the biologic deer just boom. Let's go. Yes. Oh God. Man, I'm shaking like a leaf. What an absolute mega giant here in Iowa. A buck we called D8. He disappeared last year. And we had a great encounter with him, not 300 yards across this field in the bottom, and he was just a straight 8. And this year, as soon as we got the first reconnaissance pictures of him, we knew exactly who it was. He threw a drop tine, he threw trash, just an absolute monster. Whew.
I sent it to Bobby Culbertson. He felt stomach, liver, or stomach, liver, lung based on body position. My gut was, after looking at it, was stomach, liver, or stomach, liver, lung as well. Down, right down right now.
There somewhere.
Yeah,
I can pull it.
pretty close.
You could pull up the impact.
Yeah, but it quartered away a little bit, which is everyone's assessment. Bobby Culbertson, Tracker John, myself, Terry all said stomach, liver, possibly lung. And after looking at the video close, I think it's definitely stomach, liver, lung, because that clearly shows it quartering away.
Catches offside.
Yeah.
This one looks pretty close. One of these two.
Just click on this one. Legs back, but let's see where it's actually at.
And when he takes off running, it might be pretty close.
A little quarter too.
That's
Ooh,
about the same
pretty
place,
close. Yeah.
is it not?
Yeah.
Was that an hour? Oh, bumped. Wait, an additional 4 hours. 200 yards. Okay. Yeah, it's a touch back from that. To me, it's right in here, which is right where your hit is.
Yeah.
It's awfully close,
Just opposite his front, you know.
but same
That
hit.
deer's a touch quarter away though too, in my opinion.
Yeah, like it's very similar
Yes.
hit. So they waited, they waited a total of 5.
Yeah.
Bobby said 2 to 3.
Yeah. All right, well, we talked to a lot of different people. We ran it through DeerCast track. We talked to Tracker John, Bobby Culbertson, Terry, bunch of different people, and we all kind of had the same consensus as that it's stomach, liver, lung, or liver, lung. Saw pretty good blood coming out, so we're gonna go ahead and ease down in there, check the blood, and go from there. But have high hopes that we're gonna get our hands on that giant.
Thank you, Rage. It's definitely gritty, but most of it looks bright.
The blood. I mean, look at that.
That's 2 trim.
Right here. He's starting to slow down, but I think he's definitely walking now. Wow, there's a bit right here. Definitely slowed down and walking. There's pretty good blood. Oh, look. You can see it all the way up through here. I feel pretty confident about it now. I think I see him right there. See that wide frame? Congrats. Yeah. Look at this. Oh my God. Look at that. Wow, he's definitely as big as I thought he was. Wow, man. This is a buck of a lifetime. Just awesome. I can't even believe this. Yeah, baby. This thing is absolute monster. Holy. Thank you so much, Mark.
No, thank you, buddy.
Oh my
awesome.
God. I don't even have words.
How about it, boys? We just found a giant.
Absolute mega giant. Wow, it all came together. Josh and I actually sweated out on the second day of season. I can't even talk. On the second day of season, he went to bed, and we locked up in a hawk blind, and it paid off. He came out straight downwind. You know, we went through our whole scent regimen, and he came out downwind, but just never did come in close enough for a shot. And then this morning, we got a picture of him going to bed at 8:09, and it worked to perfection. He popped out at probably at 6:45. Well, yeah, because it was about 6 minutes worth of pre-roll. 6:45, I shot him at 6:50, and man, 20 yards out of the muddy blind, and I'm sitting behind one of the biggest frame deer I've ever killed in my life.
Dude, let's go. Big congrats. Thank you.
Oh man, I can't even believe it, guys. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, thank you all for being here. It's just awesome.
All smiles here from Southern Iowa. Congratulations, Wayne.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Robinson. Everyone you put an arrow through, it's a hard-earned deer, I can promise you that. He and Perry worked so hard, along with Forrest, on all the different farms throughout the summer, and the drought intensified that. Much deserved giant, the biggest deer of Wade Robinson's life. Congratulations, buddy. Nobody's happier than this guy. So that concludes another awesome deer season 22, and the bucks just keep falling. A little sneak peek to what's going to come in the next episode. Myself and Scott Heminger had a great night. We sat back to watch a field, waiting for a giant to show back up. He'd been gone for a month, and we saw exactly who we wanted to see. Now it was a matter of waiting for the right wind for myself and Perry Batten. We had one chance over the next 10 days looking at DeerCast predictive model, and we made the most of it.
I think it's your deer. Seriously, I'm pretty sure. Big kicker off his too.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by MOTV. For full episodes of 13 and all of our Outdoor Channel content, head over to the MOTV app and view it today.